Welcome to this series on Navigate PowerHEDA. I am Evan from the IDSC training team, and I will be your guide in this tutorial. Widget tabs on dashboard widgets. The widget tabs can be accessed by clicking on the pencil icon or edit icon to edit the settings for the widget. The first tab is the Widget tab. This tab contains the settings for the basic functions and definition of the data in the widget. A widget title can be set. This title will appear in the widget. The widget style can be set. This will apply a color to the widget. The data perspective can be selected if multiple perspectives were selected for the dashboard. In this example, only one perspective is selected for the dashboard. So, only one perspective will be available for the widget. Groups and series in PowerHEDA widgets relate to the columns that were selected in the dataset and pulled through to the perspective. Groups relate to dimensions, and series relate to measures, or the columns that we will use to measure the data in the widget by. In most chart widgets, if a subgroup is selected, only one series is available for display in the widget. The Widget tab in a table widget allows multiple dimensions to be selected and be displayed as groups or series, where groups will display as rows and series the corresponding measures in the columns. The Widget tab of the Table widget has an additional function, Use First Group for Columns. When this checkbox is ticked, the first item in the group selection will display as columns. The Widget tab in the Key Stats widget allows for the display of multiple series or measures in a summarized form. Because the KeyStat widget is specifically designed to display summarized measures, it only lists calculated measures as defined in the dataset. The next tab in the Chart widget is the Chart tab. For each chart type widget, this tab defines the settings relating to the actual chart inside the chart widget. Setting an optional chart title and subtitle will display this title and subtitle inside the chart area of the widget. Note that this is different to the widget title, which is set in the Widget tab. The next three settings in the Chart tab of the Chart Type widget define the height of the three different elements that may be presented in a chart widget. The widget height has a default setting of 0, which means that it automatically resizes to the size of the chart included inside the widget. If this setting was set to lower than the chart height, then the widget will automatically include a scroll bar so that all the contents of the widget may be seen. Setting the chart height changes the physical amount of space that the widget takes on the dashboard. The table height is reserved for the optional table that may be included above or below the chart inside the chart widget. The next tab that is available to charts, tables, and KeyStats widgets is the Display tab. There are many options on the Display tab, and these change depending on the widget chart type. In the KeyStats widget, the Display tab has many options to customize the display of the KeyStats widget. The filter indicator gives the user the option to display the filters that have been applied to this widget on the KeyStats widget. Options are to display in the header, the footer, or as an icon. An icon displays the filters applied when the cursor is hovered over the icon. Displaying in the header or footer will display the filters that have been applied to this widget. Setting the background color opens a palette of colors that are available, or sliders where you may put in the RGB colors or the hexadecimal code for the specific color that will display the widget. This gives a visual effect to the KeyStats widget for any user to instantly identify the KeyStats widget. Setting the indicator alignment to the left, right, or center, as well as the descriptor or image alignment, work hand in hand depending on what has been used in the KeyStats widget. This will set it to right align, left align, or center align. The option to switch columns switches the indicator with a descriptor. Large style changes the default size of the indicator to a preset large size of 64. A few more options then are created. The indicator color can be changed, as well as the descriptor color, the descriptor size can be increased or decreased, and if an image was included with a keystat when it was created, the image size can also be changed to make the visual display more prominent. The reset function resets all the options that were set when large style was selected. The display tab in the table widget has options that relate to the display of a table widget. Setting the widget height sets the height of the widget on the dashboard. The default setting of 0 means that the table will automatically resize. And setting a fixed height means that the widget will take up a fixed amount of space on the dashboard. The same applies to the table height, where the table height is set within the widget. These values are set in pixels. To the right of these settings is a reset button, which will reset any value back to its default value of 0. The option to show grouping title will display the hierarchy of fields that have been selected as groups. This is the drill down path in the widget tab of the widget. Highlight header and total highlights the header and the total if a total has been selected. Show grand total and row total will apply a grand total and, if applicable to the data selected, a row total. If a KPI has been selected for display in the selected table widget, the icon and the value, or the value icon and target, or the icon only can be chosen for display in the widget. The option to expand level will determine the level that is displayed as a default when the widget loads in the dashboard. This widget has now been set to load on the first level. The filter indicator indicates what filters have been applied in this widget so that any user of this dashboard can see the filters that have been applied. Some charts, like the column chart, give the option to change the chart type. With this function, the visual effect can be changed without recreating the widget. The axis formatting can be changed to represent the data type contained as a measure in the widget. The filter indicator shows on the widget the filters that have been set for this widget, so that the user can easily see what filters have been applied to this widget. The zoom type function allows the user to make a selection in the data, and in so doing, zoom and take a closer look at the selection. The zoom type function gives options on whether the zoom type should be horizontal only, vertical only, or both horizontal and vertical. The x-axis steps option allows the user to select the number of steps that the x-axis should increment in. The checkboxes that are available in the Display tab all affect the visual display of the widget on the dashboard. A stacked graph changes the display of a column or bar type graph by stacking the data in a way that it visually displays a relative amount. Percentage makes the full value of the combined values 100% and displays each value as a percentage This is also called a full stacked graph. The invert graph option inverts the graph to the options that are available depending on the selections that have been made. Show labels for values displays the labels for each value on the chart. A grouped tooltip differs from a normal tooltip in that it groups all related values, where a normal tooltip will display only the value where the cursor has hovered. Make a histogram is best displayed using a bar chart not stacked, not percentage. Or a column chart Allow export includes the option inside the widget to download the chart as an image or to print the chart directly from the widget in PowerHEDA. Show markers is best displayed on a line chart type where a shape will display on the value point on the graph, making a visual effect for the user to see the point, the data point, more accurately. The Show Legend option gives the option to display a legend for this chart, and if displayed, the position of the legend relative to the chart. If the chart is capable of being shown in 3D, this option displays a visual effect. Some charts, like the multi-charts, have the option in the Display tab to synchronize the axis. This will set the second axis on the same scale as the primary axis. The semicircle charts can be set so that the semicircle can start and end at any defined point. In the Display tab of the semicircle is also a setting for the inner size. This will set the thickness of the semicircle. The next tab that is common to charts and table widgets is the Series tab. The Series tab will list the fields selected for the series display in the widget. A function that is common to all widgets is that an alias can be set. This will change the display name of the field in the widget. For charts with multiple axes, the function will repeat per axis or series selected. In the table chart, the Series tab also allows a number formatting to be set. Number formats follow the standard set by Microsoft Excel, where hashes form a placeholder and zeros will require that a number be displayed. Colors can be applied to spark lines when they form for above or below. The Ordering tab allows you to set the sort order of columns as they display in tables or charts. Fields can be set to order in ascending or descending order. On all chart widgets, the Table tab appears between the Ordering tab and the Filter tab, and it gives you the option to use a table above or below the chart that you have selected. The options on this Table tab work similarly to the Widget tab of the Table widget, where the selections will allow options for group columns, and the order of these group column selections will determine the drill down path in the table. Multiple measures can be displayed as series. Ticking the checkbox next to Use First Group for Columns will make the first column, the first item in the group list, display as a column. If KPIs have been added to the table, these can be displayed as a value and icon and target value, or the icon only, or the default value only. As with the Table widget, options are available to show the grand title, highlight the header and total, show grouping title, and show row total if the data allows for it. This table that has been added below the chart is independent of the chart, but will also be refreshed when the refresh icon is clicked on the chart widget. Filters determine how specific columns from the dataset perspective should be selected. The Filter tab sets the filters for the current widget only. Select the field you wish to filter on. This list is populated by the dimensions that are available in this widget from the dataset perspective. Next, select the condition to apply. These conditions are SQL functions that allow you to make specific selections from the dataset perspective. These conditions are SQL functions that allow you to make specific selections from the dataset perspective. If you are not familiar with SQL commands, the easiest selection is the default in-list option. This will populate the next drop-down box with a unique list of values from the dataset that you can select from. For any other condition, enter a value in the blank text box to apply the condition to. Once your filter statement has been created, click on the Add button to add the selection to the list in the Filter tab. The Ignore Dashboard Filter option sets the filters in this widget to override the filters selected on the dashboard and in the dashboard filter bar. Headers are display areas above the chart or table, and footers are display areas below the chart or table. These areas can contain formatted text as a note relating to the widget, or links to objects in PowerHEDA. Both the header and footer options are identical to the rich text widget and all have the same functionality. Clicking on the source button allows for text to be entered in an HTML code format that will display in the widget as defined by the code. Using the default option means that text can be formatted using a WYSIWYG editor, which simply means what you see is what you get. Standard formatting options are a numbered list, a bulleted list, setting the alignment, the indents, and the text direction from left to right or right to left. Text can be set as bold, italic, or underlined, strike through with subscripts and superscripts, or the formatting can be removed. Styles can be selected, formats can be chosen, and fonts can be selected, as well as a size set for any text set on this dashboard widget. Text colors can be set. An undo and redo function exists. The option for where there's lots of text in the header footer can be, there's a search function, a replace function, the option to select all, link, insert a table or an image. Then PowerHEDA has a set of functions that are specific to PowerHEDA, where objects that belong to PowerHEDA can be added as links in the header or the footer. So cube reports may be added, header documents, Excel files, a hyperlink, SQL reports, a specific application link, a dashboard link, header field, or a report layout. The header footer also allows placeholders that represent preset functions. So doing the example of C here will apply just the current year as a shortcut function. Thank you for watching. If you have any further questions or any feedback on this tutorial, please send an email to support@idsc.co.za.